Hi, my name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this is your Mentor's Moment. Here, we answer real questions answered by dads and entrepreneurs who are seeking advice, insight, or a new perspective on something they're facing about being a father or being an entrepreneur. In today's question, a dad asks, what are some fun ways a father can connect with his daughter? Oh, this is such a great question. It's such a great question. I have a daughter myself, but the answer is that the what I have for connecting with the daughter is that what I have for connecting with my son is the what I have for connecting with new best friends. And as entrepreneurs and dads, it's really important that we surround ourselves with people who align with our values and align with the way that we see the world. It is incredibly difficult to make friends as an adult. And these skills are no different than when you're trying to connect with your daughter or connect with your son or connect with a new friend or reconnect with an old friend. And building relationship and a brotherhood around you, these are important skills and a great question. Thank you for bringing it. See, as a dad and an entrepreneur, if you have more than one child, it's really easy to group your kids as we have kids, right? They're like one all big one mosh pit. Hey, you kids, come on over here. We got to go over here. Hey, you kids, go get in the car. Didn't I tell you kids to go brush your teeth? Hey, have you kids finished your homework? It's really easy to have this group-like perspective about communicating with your kids. But connecting with them is no different than connecting with any other human being. And we use the same skills that we use in either networking for sales, no joke, for taking care of customers, for dating, for managing our relationship with our spouse or partner, to connecting with our children and connecting with friends. See, the bottom line is when we group our perspective about our children is they're all just the same, they get it. They feel like that they're not being seen and they're not being heard. And this can be super hurtful. And connecting with them is connecting with who they are on the inside. Now, your question was specifically about how to connect with your daughter, like somehow connecting with your daughter is going to be different than connecting with your son. That's the interesting part. It sounds like you have this preconceived notion about how daughters are different than sons. And that, I think, is a little bit dangerous because there are plenty of girls out there who play football. There are plenty of girls out there who tear it up on dirt bikes. There are plenty of girls who like to go out and play in the woods, climb trees, and throw rocks. Boys and girls are no different. They're children. They're connected to you. And finding out who they are in the world is the number one thing you need to do to figure out what you can do together and what can bind you together. Here's the thing. We as entrepreneurs need to make time in our calendar for each one of our kids. While I know we're busy, we're trying to pay the bills. We're trying to build the business. We're trying to give it our all. But at the same time, we're committed fathers. And part of being a committed father is making sure that you set aside time for each one of your children, where it's just one-on-one time with you and them. Now, what does that look like? Well, for each child, it's likely going to look different. Now, you may find something that you naturally connect with one of your children, and it will be that thing that you two can go to over and over and over again. But the same may not be true of one of your other children. They may not resonate with that part of your personality or that interest that you have at all. So it's up to us to do the work to try and distinguish what are those things that you're interested in? What are those things that light you up? What are those things that seem like they're fun? And it's not a zero-sum game. Like we're only going to do what my daughter wants to do, or we're only going to do what this child wants to do. We need to find something together that we both like to do. I'll give you an example. Years ago, my daughter was a horseback rider as a little girl. Little pink pigtails right up here, and she used to love to ride horses, and horses were her world. And with all due respect to horses, I'm not a big horse guy. I loved that it brought her so much joy. I was a horse dad. I would go and see her practices and go to the shows. But when she and I decided to do a dad-daughter weekend together, she said she wanted it to be about horses. But the idea of spending an entire long weekend where it's supposed to be just her and I at a horse arena did not sound like fun for me. We sat down and here's the conversation I had with her. I asked her, what would be fun for you and I to do? We get to co-create this. Together, you and I get to make this up. My daughter told me, for me, if I could just go and see horses, that would be fun for me. And I said to her, I said, well, I wanted this to be a motorcycle trip. So if I can figure out a way for this to be a motorcycle trip for you and me, and we could see horses, would that sound like fun? And my daughter said, absolutely. So you're not going to believe it. I ended up creating a motorcycle trip that specifically and intentionally cut through horse country. And we were stopping, I swear, every 20 or 30 minutes by the side of this long pasture at one miscellaneous farm or another to look at the beautiful horses that were galloping or grazing, who would come by the fence. The farmers would come out and they'd talk with my daughter about the horses. On Saturday night of our weekend, our destination was a small town on the Washington-Idaho border where they had a local rodeo. It was not only was it a local rodeo, but it was an international rodeo. The pro rodeo circuit from both Canada and the United States met in this small town, and they had the hugest competition. It was a memory maker for my daughter and I. And as we went home at the end of the day, she told me how much she enjoyed our time together. She said it in a way that I can't repeat, but it brought such joy to me, and it brought me to tears. Because connecting with our kids is about finding things that we can do together. Because if we're ending up not co-creating something, we're not working with them. When we find something that's all in service of them and not in service of us, we're likely to check out. If we find something that's in service of us but not in service of them, they're not going to be happy, nor are they going to feel like they're included in the conversation. Finding connection with your children is just as important as finding connection with your spouse, with a date, with a coworker, with a client, or with a family member. We have to find those common threads of excitement and interest where we can do things together that bring us both meaning. That was probably one of the most meaningful times that my daughter and I had. My son and I had the same, but it was completely different. I'll save that for another question. Thanks so much for the great question, and keep them coming. We're loving all the questions that you all are bringing in. Now, I have a question for you. If you're watching this video, how would you have addressed this dad's issue? Do you have a question of your own? And if you like this video, make sure to check out the other questions dads have asked. And lastly, remember, we become better men by spending time with good men. My name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this has been your Mentor's Moment.